On February 6, 2013, the Los Angeles Police Department announced that a 21-year-old Canadian girl had been missing for several days and asked for the help of the LA community to find her. Little did they know that this case would quickly spread on the internet and become one of the most discussed cases in the world, perhaps one of the most talked about cases of that day. Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old, was the daughter of a Canadian family who had immigrated from China. She was a student at the University of British Columbia and had been unable to attend many of her classes after a severe bout of depression. In an attempt to clear her mind after this depression, she embarked on a journey to California, a trip she had dreamed of her whole life. Her family was not thrilled about her going alone, but reluctantly allowed it. Elisa would call her family every day during her trip to America and regularly uploaded pictures to Facebook until February 1st, 2013. On that day, Elisa did not call her family, and they couldn't reach her afterward. The young woman had checked into the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles on January 27th, a place located in one of the most dangerous areas of Los Angeles, surrounded by drug dealers, homeless individuals, and criminals. The Cecil Hotel had a cursed and eerie history, filled with numerous suicides, many unsolved murders, and serial killers residing in the hotel. One of the strangest suicides occurred in October 1962, when 27-year-old Pauline Otten was having yet another argument with her husband Dewey in their room on the 9th floor of the hotel. Dewey eventually grew tired of the argument and left the room, and the young woman, suffering from severe abdominal pains and unaware of her pregnancy, decided to give birth in the bathroom. In her state of distress and fear, Dorothy Jean Purcell, who was already mentally unstable, threw the newborn baby out of the window, resulting in both of their deaths. Speaking of murders, by the 1980s, the hotel had deteriorated to the point that even the police rarely entered it, except when absolutely necessary. The infamous Night Stalker, a serial killer named Richard Ramirez, stayed at the Cecil and murdered 13 people during his stay. It was rumored that Ramirez would return to the hotel at night, dispose of his blood-stained clothes in the hotel's back alley, and enter through the back door, wearing only his underwear. The hotel had become such a cesspool of crime that this strange behavior went largely unnoticed. In 1991, the hotel hosted another serial killer, Jack Unterweger, who murdered 3 prostitutes during his stay. Unterweger later claimed he chose the Cecil Hotel because Ramirez had stayed there. However, what truly brought global attention to the hotel, even catching the eye of the producers of the popular TV series American Horror Story, leading to the creation of a series titled Hotel starring Lady Gaga, was not the events I've described, but the disappearance of 21-year-old Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam, who stayed at the Cecil Hotel for 4 nights, went missing the day after she visited a bookstore near the hotel. According to the bookstore staff, she was very cheerful and purchased several books, mentioning that she would have difficulty carrying these books for the rest of her trip. Elisa disappeared that evening, terrifying images in the elevator. About 10 days after Elisa's disappearance, the Los Angeles Police Department released an elevator camera recording that captured the last images of the girl. After this 4-minute recording was made public, it caused quite a sensation. The date of the recording is the early hours of February 1st, just after midnight, and the images in the approximately 4-minute recording are so eerie, hair-raising, and Elisa's behavior in the elevator is so strange that the footage quickly went viral and was viewed millions of times, garnering thousands of comments. Discussion threads about what happened to Elisa before she disappeared were opened on all forum sites, and her last recorded images before her disappearance became a virtual bombshell. In the footage, Elisa initially enters the elevator on the 14th floor and waits for the elevator to move calmly. When the elevator doesn't move, she looks outside to understand why, and from that point on, her behavior becomes increasingly bizarre, as if she's afraid of something. She hides inside the elevator as if trying to start it by pressing the buttons. Finally, she steps outside and appears to be talking to something we can't see, waving her hands and arms in strange directions. During this conversation, her hands and feet twist in odd angles. After this, Elisa leaves the location of the elevator and disappears from the footage, with no further news about her. Shortly after Elisa exits the frame, the elevator door closes on its own and starts moving to the floors she pressed the buttons for. 5 days after the footage was released, guests at the Cecil Hotel began complaining about the strange color and taste of the water running from the taps. The hotel management sent a technician to check the water tanks on the roof, and the technician found Elisa Lam's naked body inside one of the water tanks. Her clothes, slippers, and watch were also found inside the water tank. The autopsy revealed no alcohol or drugs in her system. Her cause of death was ruled as drowning, with no signs of external trauma on her body. The police, considering her history of depression and bipolar disorder, declared the case a suicide and closed the file. Of course, for millions of social media users following the case, the Elisa Lam file was not so easily closed. The police's explanation did not satisfy those who enjoy conspiracy theories and were intrigued by the mysterious history of the Cecil Hotel. Many people were trying to find a supernatural explanation for the incident. Dark waters. Another reason internet users are trying to connect Elisa Lam's mysterious death to the supernatural is the resemblance of her experiences to the horror film Dark Water, originally a Japanese film and later remade by Hollywood. In the 2005 film Dark Water, a mother and her daughter live in an old apartment building and frequently encounter a little girl in a malfunctioning elevator. Water leaks from the ceiling into their apartment. Eventually, they find the drowned body of a little girl inside the water tank on the roof. Moreover, the name of the little girl who lives with her mother in the apartment is Cecilia. Theories. 1. The theory of rational, level-headed people. Elisa had been receiving treatment for depression for a long time and was manic depressive. On the night she died, she had a manic episode and experienced hallucinations. These hallucinations caused her to panic, and in her panic, she either climbed onto the roof and hid inside the water tank, or, under the influence of the psychosis she was experiencing, she jumped into the water tank, committing suicide. The police, who also accepted this possibility, cannot answer these questions. How did she get to the roof, which is protected by an alarm system? And how did she open the very heavy lid of the water tank by herself? The lid automatically closes after being opened. Murder. There was someone outside the elevator, and Elisa was talking to that person. This person was most likely someone who knew the hotel well. They took Elisa to the roof and killed her. This theory also has its problems. How did the killer carry Elisa up the narrow stairs to the water tank? Since the autopsy report found no signs of assault or drug use and stated that she died by drowning, Elisa must have been in her senses when she was carried, making the killer's job almost impossibly difficult. 3. Supernatural events. Ghosts, spirits, the souls of those who died in the hotel, or whatever you want to call them, haunted Elisa, possessed her, influenced her, and led her to commit suicide. Moreover, those who believe in this theory have an answer for every question because of the ghosts. We will most likely never know how Elisa Lam actually died, so everyone will continue to believe in their own theory. I imagine that the spirit of the girl is living in the dark corridors of the hotel with Lady Gaga and the transgender receptionist Liz Taylor. I hope you've been creeped out enough. If not, just wait for next week. To support my channel, you can subscribe and turn on notifications.